Ric Bucher has been making a lot of noise ever since he's been calling out some of the lies that the media has been trying to propagate. You know what's interesting? You know, Rich Paul recently made some comments that were directed to people like myself, where he was calling people like us out. Oh, you guys want to benefit off of LeBron's name for money and all of this. But it's amazing how he hasn't called out Patrick Bet-David, Clay Travis, Skip Bayless, Ric Bucher by name. They only got smoke for the black folks. Isn't that Shale Sonnen, who probably levied the most devastating and damaging allegation against LeBron James?
LeBron James has spent more than 2 decades dominating the NBA. But if there's one city that has a reputation for treating every superstar the same, it's Philadelphia. And now, a growing debate is starting to gain traction. Will LeBron finally face a fan base that refuses to buy into the narratives if things don't go according to plan? That conversation exploded after comments from Rich Paul and former NBA player Brendon Haywood sparked a wave of reactions across the basketball world. Let's break it all down. First, let's talk about Rich Paul. Rich Paul recently criticized independent content creators, suggesting that many people are simply using LeBron James' name to make money. According to him, critics continue talking about LeBron because controversy generates views and attention.
Who said he was using PEDs? That's what Shale Sonnen said. You overlook all of these people, but you want to talk about independent creators, that there's money in it. We'll take you seriously when you start going after the big dogs. When you address them, then I'll know you're serious. You're not calling out any white people. I'm noticing the trend. I'm noticing all of what they said. Go call them out. Go address Shale Sonnen before you want to address us. I'm just saying. Because I never accused anything, LeBron James of anything. Not even one time. I've reported on the news, I've pushed back on the narratives, and I've made fun of him.
Now, whether you agree or disagree with that statement, here's what many people immediately pointed out. If the goal is truly to defend LeBron against unfair criticism, then why aren't the biggest national personalities being called out? There have been television analysts, radio hosts, podcast personalities, and even former athletes who have made much stronger accusations than independent creators ever have. Some have questioned LeBron's legacy. Some have criticized his leadership. Others have even made controversial allegations regarding performance-enhancing drugs. Those are far more serious claims than simply debating where LeBron ranks all time or criticizing his defense during a game.
Which all you can do. But those people, they got personal. The day I see Rich Paul call out Shale Sonnen, then I'll know he's serious. Until then, I cannot take him seriously. Donald Trump just called LeBron James a racist. Why don't you call out the president since you're in the call out mood? We'll leave that for another day. Anyway, so Ric Bucher's been making a lot of news. But anyway, there was a show that he did recently with former NBA player Brendon Haywood, who I believe played with Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
Whether that's intentional or not is up for debate, but it has certainly become part of the conversation. Now let's shift to what may be an even bigger storyline. Former NBA player Brendon Haywood recently discussed what he believes would happen if LeBron's hypothetical situation in Philadelphia doesn't go as planned. And his answer was simple. Philadelphia fans won't protect anybody. According to Haywood, the Sixers fan base is completely different from many other NBA markets. If you aren't playing hard, if you aren't defending, if you're not giving maximum effort, they're going to let you hear about it immediately. No excuses, no reputation, no special treatment. That's what has made Philadelphia sports famous for decades. The city demands effort above everything else. Fans can live with missed shots. They can live with bad nights. What they struggle to accept is a lack of hustle. That's why Haywood believes LeBron would face something he hasn't experienced in many years. A fan base with no emotional attachment to him. Think about it.
And this one was pretty interesting, and I'm going to read the background of it. From X Account The Truth. It says, Brendon Haywood says, LeBron James and Clutch Sports aren't going to be able to spin narratives to trick Philadelphia fans if things go wrong via their podcast. Take a look at what these guys had to say here.
Austin Reeves wasn't hesitating to go find his. Luka Doncic wasn't hesitating to go find his. I don't know that Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown are going to defer to LeBron if he's not playing at the same level, particularly if defensively he's costing them. And we had one of our viewers was saying, you know, when it doesn't work, how fast are they going to get on Tyrese or VJ or whatever?
When LeBron returned to Cleveland, he was the hometown hero. In Miami, he delivered championships. In Los Angeles, he helped bring another NBA title to the Lakers. Every stop along the way created emotional equity with the local fans. Philadelphia? None. No history. No championships. No long-standing relationship. Just expectations. Very high expectations. And Philadelphia fans have proven over the years that they're willing to boo anybody. Haywood even reminded viewers that Kobe Bryant, one of Philadelphia's own, was booed in the city despite being one of the greatest players in NBA history. If Kobe wasn't immune, why would LeBron be? That's a fair question.
I don't think that's the case with Philly. I think those guys have established who they are. I think this may be the first time where LeBron is the one who's in the crosshairs if things aren't successful.
Hey, I'm going to tell you like this, because I was there for this one. I was at the All-Star game when Philly booed Kobe Bryant, their own beloved child. Boo! Hey, listen, in Philly, if it ain't right, they letting you know. And this ain't they not playing the spin game. They're not gonna let you spin it. Like Clutch ain't gonna be able to spin this through the media. And like if they mad at LeBron, it's gonna be boo.
Philadelphia has always been known as one of the toughest sports markets in America. The fans don't care how famous you are. They don't care how many MVP trophies you've won. They don't care how many championships you've collected. If they believe you're hurting the team's chances of winning, they'll let everyone know. And they won't wait until next season. They'll let you hear it during the game. That brings us to another interesting point. Who would actually receive the blame if things went wrong? Some analysts believe Joel Embiid would once again become the primary target. Why? Because Tyrese Maxey remains one of the most beloved young stars in Philadelphia. He's viewed as the future of the franchise. Meanwhile, if Jaylen Brown were part of such a scenario, his championship resume and finals MVP would naturally give him credibility among fans and media alike. That leaves Embiid. He's already faced criticism for playoff disappointments. He's dealt with injuries. He's been questioned about conditioning.
If they're going to be, it's going to be the Philly sports radio shows and everything. The Philly fan base is one of the most ruthless and aggressive fan bases, and you can't trick these people, man.
Nope.
They say, listen, you can't tell them it's raining when it's not.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They're not that type of crowd. So if they look out there and they see LeBron not hustling on defense, or if they look out there and they see Tyrese Maxey not getting proper usage, these Philly fans, they gonna call it out.
Yep.
This ain't the wine and cheese crowd at Staples that's gonna just LeBron, nah.
They
Philly
also
is cutthroat.
So it's easy to imagine national conversations shifting blame toward him once again. But here's where opinions begin to split. Some believe Philadelphia fans wouldn't buy that narrative. Unlike national television debates, local fans watch every possession. They notice defensive rotations. They notice transition defense. They notice effort. If LeBron were jogging back on defense or conserving energy, Philadelphia fans would recognize it immediately. This isn't a crowd that's easily distracted by highlight plays. They pay attention to the little things. That's exactly what Haywood was trying to emphasize. The city values accountability. However, here's where another major disagreement enters the discussion. Would national media actually criticize LeBron the same way local Philadelphia fans might? Many people aren't convinced. For years, critics have argued that LeBron receives a level of protection from major media outlets that very few athletes enjoy. Whenever his teams struggle, the conversation often shifts toward roster construction.
Yep. And they recognize false hustle. You're not going to be able to have like a couple possessions where you're moving your feet and you're getting after it. And then there's 3 possessions where you're not rotating. The Philly fans will be aware of anyone that is not making that happen. I agree with.
So you saw what they said. Here's my response to that. They're going to do their very best. I think the odd man out here is going to be Joel Embiid, because you can't really go after Jaylen Brown because he's a finals MVP. So criticizing him, you look stupid. You look absolutely stupid. He already won a finals MVP and a championship.
Front office decisions, injuries, lack of shooting, lack of depth, anything except placing the majority of responsibility on LeBron himself. Whether that's fair or unfair depends entirely on who you ask. Supporters argue that LeBron has consistently elevated teammates throughout his career and deserves the benefit of the doubt. Critics argue the opposite. They believe national media often searches for external explanations before holding LeBron accountable. That's why some people predict a familiar storyline if a Philadelphia experiment were ever to struggle. The first headline might not be, LeBron isn't playing well. Instead, it could become, LeBron doesn't have enough help. Sound familiar? NBA fans have heard that conversation many times before. Perhaps the supporting cast isn't deep enough. Maybe the roster lacks perimeter defense. Maybe there's insufficient shooting. Maybe injuries disrupted chemistry. Those discussions tend to emerge whenever expectations aren't met. Again, that's not unique to LeBron. Many superstars receive similar treatment. But because LeBron has been under the microscope for over 20 years, every narrative becomes magnified. Now imagine that happening in Philadelphia. Every local radio show, every sports podcast, every post-game discussion, every caller, every newspaper column. The scrutiny would be relentless. Philadelphia sports culture thrives on accountability. That's why so many former athletes describe it as one of the hardest places to play. Win, and the city will embrace you. Lose while giving maximum effort, and fans may still respect you. But lose while appearing disengaged? That's an entirely different story. No amount of reputation protects you there. At the same time, it's important to separate fan reactions from media narratives. Those are two completely different worlds. Local fans often judge players based on what they see every single night. National media, however, frequently focuses on broader storylines that attract the largest audiences. Those perspectives don't always match. A player can receive heavy criticism inside one city while national television spends days discussing something completely different. That disconnect has existed across sports for years. So if LeBron were ever to experience struggles in Philadelphia, it's entirely possible that local fans would react much more harshly than national commentators. Ultimately, this entire discussion comes down to expectations. LeBron James remains one of the greatest players the NBA has ever seen. But expectations follow greatness. The bigger the superstar, the louder the criticism becomes when results don't match the hype. Philadelphia has never been afraid to challenge its biggest stars. History proves that. Whether you're a Hall of Famer, a league MVP, or one of the greatest players ever, the jersey doesn't guarantee protection. Only winning does. And even then, fans expect maximum effort every single night. That's what makes this conversation so fascinating. Not because anyone knows exactly what would happen, but because Philadelphia represents one of the few places where reputation alone may not be enough. If LeBron dominates, fans will celebrate him. If he struggles, but gives everything he has, they'll likely respect the effort. But if they believe he's not giving the team everything he's got, they'll make their opinions impossible to ignore. And that's why so many people believe Philadelphia would present one of the toughest environments LeBron James has ever experienced. What do you think? Would Philadelphia fans hold LeBron accountable if things went wrong? Or would the national media shape the narrative before local voices could? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest NBA news.